Dr. McKay. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
I'd give you a hug, but you know.
Hey, Doc, how
I
you
know.
doing?
COVID-19 and all that.
Yeah.
It's changed the world.
No hugging allowed.
Yeah, I made a mistake and hugged someone the other day and thought I immediately had a cough afterwards.
Yeah, I think humans are made to hug. You know, it's funny. I put a post on Facebook the other day. You know, this pandemic really makes you realize how valuable hugs are. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Normally, I walk into council meetings and the chief hugs me. I think he's trying to pat me down, but he calls it a hug.
Hey, he's Italian. Italians are huggers anyway.
Yeah, I can't help myself.
Guys, I am here. I'm going to be invisible. I just don't want you guys to see me drinking my whiskey. So
Okay.
I'm here, though. Okay.
Okay. What's the celebration?
Don't answer that question.
Thursday.
Don't answer that question. As your lawyer, don't answer that question. But if you drive, you get a discount tonight.
Uh-oh.
I am home. Let's see you guys.
You guys, what is the Zoom? What's the meeting number?
Meeting ID is
Wait, just a second. Let me just get out of it, because. Okay, go ahead.
867 2529 4552.
But if you just click join in the link, you shouldn't need the meeting number. But
I had to do it on a tablet. I couldn't.
oh, gotcha.
It's not working. I don't get it.
Hello?
Hello, Madam President.
Hello.
Hi, I think was there another number that was given out?
Nafis?
Is that me?
Yes, ma'am. There was. The borough, yes. The borough manager thought she didn't have it, but she did, and we gave her a new one.
I don't know if it was that. I think it was calendar in advance, and then we changed it. The calendar one should have come off. So you had 2 on your calendar.
Okay.
Is everyone present?
3, 4, 5.
Yep. Hey, Prez.
We have a quorum present, ma'am. There's 6 members of council present.
All
Mr.
right.
Gibbs, before you begin, I don't know. I see on my screen 6 attendees. I don't know if they're in. Can they see this? Where we are?
They're attendees. They can hear. They can hear us.
Right.
Eileen, I'm going to promote you now. But they're attendees, and the members of council and speakers are participants.
Understood.
All right, so I'd like to call this meeting to order. And Mr. Gibbs, can you, do you need to do your spiel?
I do. May I proceed?
Thank you.
Due to the current public health emergency, the Borough Council of Yeadon is currently meeting remotely. We are utilizing Zoom to make these remote council meetings possible. Instructions for how the public may view and participate are as follows. Members of the public at the time for public comment may raise their hand. The council president will acknowledge you. Also, please be aware that this council meeting is being recorded. Because this meeting is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. So by continuing to attend the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic
For
which it stands,
Stands.
one nation,
one nation under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
To
with liberty and
and
justice.
justice for all.
all.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to ask Mr. Nichols, who's acting as our,
to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
okay, that's it. There was a lag there. I'd like to ask Mr. Nichols, who's acting as our secretary this evening, to proceed with roll call, beginning with our esteemed mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. Mayor Hempkins,
Mayor Hopkins is present.
President Monroe,
Present.
Vice President Francis,
Present.
Councilor Johnson is away and notified us. Councilor Jones Waters,
Present.
Councilor McCabe,
Present.
Councilor Cave,
Hey, everybody, I'm here.
Councilor Rollcloud,
Here.
Solicitor Gibbs,
Present.
Madam Tax Collector,
Present.
Madam Engineer.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, and
Madam President, if I may, I'd ask for a motion from council appointing Mr. Nafis Nichols as the acting secretary for the council.
is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, Madam President.
All in favor? I guess
Aye.
I'll go through a roll call vote. Since we're on Zoom, Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Yes.
and Councilor Francis.
Yes.
All right, so yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is Citizens Forum. Do we have any citizens wishing to speak, limiting their comments to 3 minutes? Please, if so, please raise your hand in the chat area. So there are none.
Madam President, there's no one raising their hand. Additionally, the borough has not received any public comments via the mail or through any other form.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes. Is there a motion for the legislative meeting minutes for August 20th, 2020?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I will go through a roll call vote. Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Yes.
Councilor Francis.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. The next order of business is the special meeting minutes of August 28th, 2020. Is there a motion?
So
So
moved, Madam
moved.
President.
Oh, second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll conduct the roll call vote. Councilor Jones Waters,
I abstain. I did not make that meeting.
Councilor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Yes.
Councilor Francis.
Yes.
So yes from me, the motion carries. We'll move on to our mayor's report.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. My report stands as submitted. I just want to underscore one or two things, and that is we did have a mayor's forum on last Tuesday. We had a special guest, U.S. Representative of our 5th District, Congressional District, Mary Gay Scanlon. She joined us and gave some valuable information. On my written report, she wanted to, it's on my written report that she wanted to underscore that our office is available to us. The address is on the report on East Baltimore Pike. The email and phone number is listed. She updated us on the census and the importance of the census, in that, you know, they're going to cut off, the federal government's cutting off the truncating the deadline to the end of September, so we only have about 2 more weeks. There's, we believe, political chicanery for there to be an undercount in blue areas and cities, suburban areas. So it's very important that we continue to push that effort. We had said that there's the previous statistic reported that every person filling out the census is worth about $2,000 per year for their municipality, their state. That's been upgraded to $2,800. So it's every 10 years. So everyone who doesn't fill out the census costs $2,800 a year in lost revenue, coming back to that the municipality and state. So over 10 years, it'll be estimated $28,000 per person not filling out the census. So we have to continue to make that push, and that cannot be underscored enough, because what will happen is at the end of this process, we'll have less for schools, federal sharing for schools. It'll mean more for taxes. There'll be pressure to raise taxes, not just for schools, but we won't have money for roads, infrastructure, and the like. It is a very big issue, and the ramifications are huge if there's an undercount. So she really stressed that. She gave an update on the pandemic, what the federal government's doing, and voting, the importance of whether you're a Republican or a Democrat to really take part of this election, because it's very, very consequential. And the rest I don't need to underscore. We do have a new library director, Mr. Payne, Clay Payne, started in July. He's on the call, so if he wanted to add anything later, he can. School did reopen. This is, folks, colleagues, a lot, very, we've been through this pandemic since March, and, I always said that the second leg of this thing is potentially worse than the first, because this is where the rubber meets the road, where they're seeing spikes around the world when schools are reopened, and no matter if we got the virus under control, that scientists were expecting a resurgent, a second wave, and so we can't let down our guard. So I just want to underscore that as mayor, we're doing the best that we can to, lack of a better word, police or the effort of social distancing through code, and on the back end, the police department, if there are violations and they need to step in. Most of the businesses have been in compliance. They receive letters. We are in the green phase in Pennsylvania. However, we are seeing a resurgence. It started already around the country. It's starting to inch up the new cases. I will say that, you know, we had 2 testings directly in Yeadon. We went over that. Don't need to underscore that. And then initially, and then we had 3 more dates. One was canceled due to the storm. But we have many of the national pharmacies are doing it, like Rite Aid and Walgreens. I know Walgreens is open in Yeadon. In Darby. Actually, I got tested last week there, and it's a drive-through. So I went through that process, and it was really, really efficient. Got the results back in 2 days. So the Walgreens, I could vouch for the Walgreens in Darby, right there in Chester, Chester Pike. So I just wanted to share with the elected officials that there is a very close by testing that does it. The hours are very, but it was a very easy process to go through. I was actually pleasantly surprised. And then they give you a written, in a couple more days, you get a written account in the mail, whether you're positive or negative.
Okay, so Mayor, if you could provide that information to Borough Management, we'll make sure that it gets on the website as local areas where testing can be done for COVID. Is there more to your report?
That's it. I just want to underscore those, I thought, important matters, but that ends my report.
All right, thank you very.
And that information is in my written report, Madam President.
All righty, we'll make sure that makes it to our website and that the information is made prominent for residents to look up.
Okay.
So thank you. The next report is the President's report. My report will stand as submitted at caucus. I will underscore that you know, we do have an opportunity to have a testing site, a permanent testing site in the borough of Yeadon. We're currently in discussions with County Council to be able to make that happen. And once that is finalized, we'll make sure that to add that to our mayor's report. There ends my report, and we'll move on to our manager's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that the report submitted at the caucus meeting be submitted. There ends my report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Solicitor, Mr. Gibbs.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We've discussed a pending police arbitration matter related to an overtime issue that I won't get into detail much about now, but I have had, after discussions with counsel for the FOP and presentation of case law, I have an opportunity to settle the matter, which I think will save the borough money of doing a full 8-hour arbitration next week. I'm going to ask for authority to settle a outstanding police FOP matter, and I'll send it to council via email for a dollar amount not to exceed $1,300. I'll ask for a motion to settle.
So moved.
Grievance.
Second.
Madam President?
Yes, I said after being moved and properly seconded, I'll go through the roll call vote. Councilor Jones-Waters?
Yes.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud?
I'm sorry, I'm having a problem hearing. Somebody's cutting down a tree. What are we doing here? A motion for?
To settle an outstanding grievance with the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 27. We've discussed it in the executive session. I briefed council a few times. It would be an 8-hour arbitration, I imagine. We have a opportunity to settle it for a dollar amount not exceeding $1,300.
Oh, okay. You said you discussed it in executive session?
Yes, not today, but before. I just got the email before the meeting started to actually settle it.
Oh, because was I included in that session?
Yes, ma'am.
All
It
right.
wasn't today, but
Oh,
it's been the
okay.
previous ones.
Okay, yeah, fine, thank you.
Is that a yes, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Thank
Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Cade,
Yes.
Counselor Francis.
Yes.
The vote is unanimous. My vote is a yes. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
That concludes my report, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Madam Tax Collector.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Steve?
The tax collector's monthly report for the month of August. For real estate, we had $19,153.48. Under sewer, we had $24,999.56. And under trash, we had $3,986. The total for the month of August was $48,143.41. The numbers are right now going down. They'll come up again in November, but we're doing very well considering the number of residents we have and the ones that are outstanding. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. James. Previously you reported a comparison to previous years. Do you have that comparison to present?
I don't have the actual figures, but I can just tell you that this time last year, we had more people that owe today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
can Madam President, if it's okay, can I think in previous reports I remember we had collection rates, and I think that rate figure is pretty important. I think it's relative. I think, and especially if it's year to year. Madam James, is that something that's easily reportable?
The rate? Say what you mean.
Yeah. So the actual collection rate. I think that's, I guess for us on this side is a pretty good measure of our ability to collect what's expected.
So, Miss James, if you don't mind, Councilor Cave, I'm actually in the process as we're preparing for the budget season to have something to Mayor and Council by as of 9:30 of this month. And it will show exactly what you're asking for compared to last year.
Right.
So Omar and I are in that process. We actually had a Zoom before this meeting, and we're doing just that for the entire borough budget, but real estate taxes are included.
Okay, so can we make sure that that information is continued to be supplied with our tax collectors report going forward, whether it's you providing it to Ms. James, you all working together to get it, but just as a part of the report?
Yes, most certainly.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
I love the teamwork.
Madam President, can I ask a question to the tax collector also?
Yes.
Yeah, just real quick. I did report a caucus that a resident had asked if we could use the mayor's office of taxes while the elevators is it being repaired. Is that happening, Ms. James?
Well, the walkway was still being worked on this week, so we did not move.
Okay.
And we had, but moving forward, we will.
Okay, thank you.
So just an update for those who may not be aware, it was the cables that run under the walkway, the water seeped into the electrical panel. So that had to be repaired. So we will be able to move services downstairs once the walkway is repaired. So thank you, Mayor, for that. Our engineers report is next.
Yeah. Tonight, the first item would be to council's consideration to make an award to Ernell Company in the amount of $32,400 for the storm sewer inlet and filter installation project, and that is a grant. It's payable by a grant.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, do a roll call vote. Councilor Jones Waters.
Yes.
Counselor Road Cloud,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis.
Yes.
It's a yes from me. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
The second item is related to the elevator, and the reason why they haven't been able to progress any further is that, as you discussed, the wires are bad and they need to be rewired. We did meet with 2 different elevator companies, and the pricing that just quotes it, you know, just random rough order of magnitude quotes that we obtained, they're over the threshold for bidding, and they're also over the threshold for prevailing wages. Both came in above 25,000. So we're asking for council authorization to bid those, to bid for the rewiring of the elevator. And the
So
two
moved.
estimates, I'll just tell you, the one estimate was 41,000, the other estimate was 57,000. So this isn't cheap. I guess I don't know when the elevator was originally installed, but it looks like it's the original wiring.
1,500.
Okay.
Do you know, is this covered by insurance?
Mayor, wait a second, Mayor, sorry. It hasn't been moved, or we're in the, is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded.
I have a question.
Mayor, so I'll start with the mayor. I'll move to Councilor Jones Waters, and I have a question as well.
Yeah. My question is, do we know if this covered by insurance, or do we have to pay out of hand?
The wire condition had nothing to do with any water damage or anything related to the storm. It's just years and years of water getting into those pipes, and the pipes were corroded, which is why the water got into the wires. It's from years and years of water damage. And I believe it came from the groundwater. The groundwater got in under the surface and ate away at the pipe.
Is there any way we could prevent that from happening in the future?
That's what we did. We replaced the pipe with plastic, and there aren't the joints that were there are no longer there. So the water came through the joints.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Jones Waters, I know that you're next. Do you mind if I interject my question first? Because it kind of piggybacks off of the mayor's, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Eileen, when was this? When was the storm?
Oh, I actually don't know the date of the storm.
I do. It was Tuesday, August 4th. No, it was
26th?
Tuesday, August 4th.
Oh.
So I guess my suggestion would be that, you know, we've had council meetings prior to this. You have access to our entire council. If there was any suspect that this scope of work would exceed the amount that you're authorized to cover without us taking a vote, then, you know, you should have asked for a special meeting, or we should have asked for this should have been done at our last meeting.
Okay,
Eileen, excuse me. So this now that we're now over a month out, and
6 weeks,
and it's concerning to me that this hasn't been addressed at all. And this is also very different from the report that you gave us before, because what you reported to us was that even like, yes, the water has been seeping in little by little, but it was exacerbated by the strength of the storm that came through. But now you're telling us that this isn't related to the storm, so insurance won't cover it. Regardless of who covers it, we deserve a service that does not take 6 weeks. So, Councilor Jones Waters, your question, please.
You touched on it. Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I would just like to make one comment that I will get back to you with the details of the timeline, because it isn't what it may appear to be to you. So I will get back to council with that timeline.
I'd like to say something. This is Dolores McCabe. I think it's ridiculous that it has taken us all this time to repair this elevator, and we still don't even know if it'll be repaired. And because it's liable to be something else that comes up. But every time you turn around, it's something else with this elevator. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Now,
I agree.
somebody ought to be able to evaluate the whole thing and fix it once and for all.
Or at the very least, recommend a course of action that won't require us to come back with tens of thousands of dollars every time. And if that means replacing the entire elevator at a higher cost so that we are not suffering the inconvenience and the embarrassment, because Eileen, we depend on you to get to do this.
Oh my, okay, could I please just respond then? I was going to wait until after the meeting, but I just want you to know that.
Eileen, at this point, we're going to call for a vote, okay? I'm going to take a roll call vote. Councilor Jones-Waters?
Yes.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud?
Yes.
Councilor McCabe?
Yes, because there's no other choice.
Exactly. Councilor Cave?
Yes.
Councilor Francis?
Yes.
It's a yes from me. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries. Eileen, if you'd like to schedule a meeting with council so you can have additional conversation, you can arrange that with borough management.
Okay, the last item is 417 Church Lane. Last month, council authorized the repair to that, to do a dig on the main and the lateral. That work will start tomorrow night. Church Lane is a state road. It required PennDOT approval. So the contractor will be working at night. That's how PennDOT wants it done. So the road at Penn and Myra will be blocked as it was 4 years ago when a similar situation occurred. And then the detour will be local roads. It will be Penn and Bonsall and Orchard and Penn. Penn and Bonsall for those traveling southbound and Orchard and Penn for those traveling northbound. We do expect it to take over a week. Again, with anything that's underground, you don't know exactly what you're going to find. I'm expecting, as I told council, 28 linear feet of pipe based on the televising to be replaced on the main. And then depending on what the laterals look like that are within that 28 feet, they'll be looked at that time. And if they need replacement, they'll be replaced. That's it. Oh, I do have one more thing. So, no, that's it. Thank you. Sorry.
Does the police department and borough management have the information about the road closures that can be publicized on our website and various other media?
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam President. That information is already on our website. We're also preparing letters that are going out. Eileen, Public Works, and the Chief of Police did have conversation earlier today as well. We're even going to not test it, but the plan is tomorrow also to send out the Delco alerts. So we're going to make sure that it's out there too.
Thank you. Moving on to our finance report, Councilor Cave.
Good evening. Madam President, I'm seeking a motion for the consideration of the accounts payable list.
So moved, Madam President.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll go through for a roll call vote.
I actually have a question. This is Leon Roquel here. So my question is, I've noticed some reimbursements for like rentals for the hall, so forth and so on. Were the reservations for these, for like the hall, the Borough Hall, scheduled prior to this year? Or were we still taking monies to reserve space this year, even though we was shut down due to COVID?
They were actually collected prior to COVID. The hall books up pretty quickly. And as residents have called in to request refunds, we process them. Some residents have even requested for us to hold the money because they may want a date next year. So they were all booked prior to COVID-19. We haven't taken any more reservations for the hall.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, I'll proceed with the roll call vote. Councilor Jones-Waters.
Yes.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
Councilor Francis.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
And Madam President, I'm requesting a motion for the consideration of the cash balance report.
So moved, Madam President.
Is there a second?
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll proceed with the roll call vote. Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Yes.
Councilor Francis.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
And lastly, Madam President, Mr. Nichols is going to go over the 2021 minimum municipal obligation. That is our responsibility towards our pension contributions.
Thanks, Councilor Cave. Mayor and Council, good evening, and to the public. The borough and every municipality is required by state law to present publicly the next year's minimum municipal obligation to its pension fund by September 30th. So I would like to present to you the 2021 numbers prepared by our actuaries, Thomas J. Anderson and Associates. The 2021 MMO for the police pension fund is $467,334. There's also a MMO for the market value for the police, which is $570,021. For our 9 uniform employees, it's $83,928. And for our public works department, it's $33,571. That's the report.
All right, do we need to take any action on the report or just a presentation?
Just a presentation, Madam President.
All righty, thank you very much. We will move on to our Public Works Department.
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing to add. My report stands.
All right, thank you so much. And just for, I'll just update the residents who are listening about our conversation earlier that there's, that we've resumed street cleaning. And as of the 14th, cars will need to move again or they'll be ticketed. And Public Works has been working with the police department. We've been really lenient, trying to understand that, you know, families are working from home, parents are home with children and may not have spaces to move their cars, but we also need to make sure that we maintain the quality of life in the borough and keep our streets clean. So we're gonna have to all bite the bullet and, you know, move the cars around a little bit, put them in our driveways so the streets can get clean. But thank you for that. And now we'll move on to public safety. Mayor Hopkins.
Okay, the public safety met 2 weeks ago, and our report stands as submitted. Thank you.
All right. Additionally, I see that the fire department has submitted that they received an assistance to firefighters grant through DHS and FEMA in the amount of $185,000 for the purchase of self-contained breathing apparatus. The grant was secured through a grant writer, and the fire company will have a 5% matching for the funding, which will be funded through the Firemen's Relief Association. I believe that the fire department has their meeting the same time as ours, so the fire chief submitted that information to us for the public. Is there any old business?
Yes, I have a question. Actually, my question is with respect to code. I noticed code was not listed on this agenda. You did mention something to the effect, you know, to maintain quality of life. And we have been having some horrible times with people taking advantage of violating our codes. So I'm wondering, when will code, the department, be back to 100% in enforcing?
So I'm not exactly sure why code wasn't listed on the agenda. However, our code department is operating and we have been receiving updates of violations. They did present a report at our caucus meeting that was discussed at length, and several of the matters that were discussed in our last meeting have since been resolved. So I do believe that they're operating and doing a fair job.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any?
No, I'm not done. With respect to the courts, it's my understanding that the courts they're not open with respect to hearing code matters. So how are we working around that? I mean, do we know when the courts will start accepting hearings again?
Madam President, may I respond?
Thank you.
The president judge for Delaware County is ordering that the magistrates deal first with criminal matters that are outstanding. After that, civil matters, and then any local ordinance violations. So the courts are open, but they're not addressing code violations as of yet. Frankly, we don't know when, but I know their first priority are people who are in jail or pending criminal cases. And it's the same thing for all 67 counties.
So we're possibly looking at a large backlog when they do open up to hear code hearings.
I don't have the universe to define it in those type of terms, but there's a backlog because we're not addressing them currently.
Thank you.
We're trying to address them.
All right, is there any new business? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So move, Madam President. So move.
Second.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.